If you are watching and not live, please type #future. Let me know that you're watching and feel free to engage. I'll try to reply as I can. And if you are watching from HAPS TV, thank you for coming in to watch. If you're not a subscriber to HAPS TV, or if you do not have the app, it is a free app that you can download. And you can find a whole variety of topics and a lot of individuals doing their live streams on HAPS TV. Also, the advantage to viewing this live stream through HAPS TV rather than Facebook is if you are to put a comment and I can see on HAPS, I can see who it's coming through. So tonight's topic is titled Science, the Metaphysical, and Love. And I know it sounds probably like a crazy topic or weird or, why are we talking about this? This isn't a, standard Vicky show, right? But kind of is, if you know me and if you followed me for a while and in the topics that I talk about. But in the work that I do with the metaphysical realm, as far as energy healing or pulling cards, whatever you want to call that. So I've been reading some comments on, I think it was actually a TikTok video. And it was a gal that was talking about changing realities, jumping realities, shifting realities using the 2-cup method. And I'm not going to go into that tonight. It's quite interesting. It works. And, comments in there, because the gal said on there, this is, backed up by science. And the naysayers are out, of course, in the comments. And I see them too. And I see them on, a variety of things. It's just something you can't wrap your head around. So automatically false. Doesn't mean that it's real or doesn't mean that it's true, right? So, well, it's frustrating, especially when you're an individual like myself who, like, well, causation doesn't exactly mean correlation. What does karma yogis teach you about this metaphysical of love? Well, I don't listen to karma yogis, etc., etc. And as far as metaphysical of love, the topic is science, the metaphysical, and love. And I'm going to try to tie these 3 things together for you. So thank you for the question. So, anyway, the first thing I want to do is talk about what is science. Okay, so we have a pandemic going on around the country also right now. There's just so much debate about what the truth is. When you're talking about religion, people will say, well, like, and if you see me turning this way, I'm going to on Facebook and say who, because I can't see the name unless you're unhappy. It comes across on my screen here as anonymous user. So thank you for commenting though. Good evening, Marianne. I'm doing well. So, if I do that, then it causes my stream here to be low, I think. I'm still working out the kinks here. Anyway, so scientific method. Let's just get this in the open right now. So what is science? Science is, the definition of science is to, the technical definition is the intellectual and practical activity encompassing, okay, so it's an intellectual activity, practical, it's something you do, it's an activity, and it encompasses something. So what does it encompass? The systematic study, so that means it's a study that uses a system with, it's not just reading a book and just learning something, but it is reading a book. Macrobee says, thank you for the knowledge. PS, you're here. Okay, thank you for the Macrobee. Okay, says Mike, unstable. Okay, so let me close this. Anyway, the systematic study of the structure and behavior. So you're studying structures and behaviors, combination there, of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. I'm sorry about that, you guys. I always forget to turn my sound on that. So the definition of science is it is doing something, it's an activity, it's studying, it's observing, it is experimenting. Okay. And so when I'm watching these live streams or I'm seeing these comments on various things, and they'll say these 3 words. The science, I'm sorry, 4 words. The science is settled. Oh my goodness gracious. That just, oh, that's like, I don't get irritated by nails on the chalkboard, but if I was that type of person where it was something that I was sensitive to, that would be like nails on the chalkboard for me because science is never settled. So individuals will come on to the comments for individuals like myself. Well, that's just stupid stuff. It's not real. It's not science. You can't say that it's science. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. Scientific method. So science is a systematic study. What is the typical systematic study that is used in science? We have something called the scientific method, and it includes making an observation. So if somebody is making an observation about, let's go back to the string theory, or let's go to the issue of being able to do the 2 cups method and switching worlds, whatever you want to call it. If you want to prove this person wrong, you've just made an observation. And then you ask your question. Ask your question about what the person is talking about, or the person who's making the statement and says it is true. If they wanted to do something to prove that their statement and to discover more about it, they would ask a question about it. And then they would form a hypothesis or an explanation that they can test. So that's the 3rd step. Form the hypothesis based off of the question you're asking. So then you're going to make a prediction based off of what you believe might happen because of the question that you're asking. And then you're going to test that prediction. And then there are many ways to test. And then you're going to iterate. You're going to use the results, and then you're going to put the data together, and then you're going to make new hypotheses or predictions. And then the cycle continues over and over and over and over again. So if you're one of those who will say that the science is settled, science is never settled. It actually evolves in response, right? You're gonna, like, you go through an experiment, it's going to evolve. There's going to be new technology. Well, let's go this current one here. We have this mRNA technology. There's going to be new technology, new methods, new data that comes out, and then new hypotheses. I'm sorry, they will come out. I mean, you had Isaac Newton's theory of gravity that informed our understanding of physics until about 1915. And then along comes Albert Einstein, and he has the theory of relativity, which then was challenged by quantum physics. And what's next? Things just go on and on and on. We continue to grow. We continue to learn. We continue to have various experiences. I did some looking before I got on here. I want to read some things and read some quotes. Someone is commenting on Facebook that says the only constant is change. I'm going to say 2 things that are constant that I know about. You live and you die. In these physical bodies, anyway, they cease to stop working eventually. Some, you're born and they're working, and then that's, yeah. Anyway, scientists understand that observations are rarely complete. And even when you're looking at a scientific experiment, there are going to be interpretations of the data that you have that are going to even vary within that. So people might look at a study, and you can pull up medical studies or other types of sciences, and you can read a study or a report that somebody did, and then you might extrapolate from that another question. Well, yeah, they said this, but then what about that? Or they said it was this interpretation of data, but I think it might be this interpretation. And then you have to create a new experiment, a new hypothesis. Hey there, if you guys are on Facebook and you're saying hi, please put your name in there. because I can't quite see who it is. I'm over here in HAPS. So this gentleman goes on to say there's usually considerable room for discussion and debate. So if you're saying science is settled, that means you're saying the book is closed. There's no such thing as metaphysics. There's no such thing as quantum physics. There's no such thing as the string theory. Science is settled. Book is closed. We are not going to debate. Debate is as important to science as consensus is to politics. Debate needs to be based on observations in science and not opinions. So if you're observing something, right? Oh, hey, Rodney, how are you? So then you have a new observation when you're observing something, and then you're going to have new ideas, new debates. And then we put debate back into science, and things just keep going on and on and on down the road. Science involves a process of looking at things, right? Somebody might say, well, there's this ultimate reality, right? But Voltaire said, doubt, because if you believe that there's this ultimate reality and that there's like everything is solid, this is the way it is, black and white, there is no gray, there's no in between, there's no other possibilities, no variations. But if you're one who is willing to say that, you know what, I'm willing to say that I don't know everything, or I'm willing to challenge the thing that I've always taught to believe, that's called doubt. It doesn't feel good to doubt something. Voltaire said doubt is not a pleasant condition, but certainty is an absurd one, because doubt will protect us from dogmatism. And okay, what do we see around the world? In religions, you've got dogmatism. People aren't allowed to question their religious faith or question, certain interpretations of their philosophical beliefs. In medicine or in, science, it's dogmatic that this, certain technologies or systems are, this is the way it is, nothing else. You can't challenge me on it. The science is settled. That is dogmatism. And when you allow yourself to doubt things, it protects us. And when you have dogmatism, it easily morphs into fanaticism. And then William James calls this a premature closing of our accounts with reality. So that means you're closing yourself off and you're not allowing yourself to see the possibility that your reality could be possibly different. That what you view as reality, because you're black and white, you're dogmatic about it, you're fanatic that this is the way it is. You're not allowing there to be a possible other reality to exist. Hello, Kathleen. Thank you for coming in. Is my feed not doing well on the Facebooks? I'm sorry. That means you need to come to HAPS TV. Okay. So the science is never 100% settled. Science is about looking at something. It's narrowing uncertainty. You can close in on it. There's different areas of sciences that are understood that have varying degrees of certainty, but it's never 100% certain. Dissociation of thoughts is interesting points of if view helps. I'm not sure. Can you expand on that, please? So let's think about this too, because going back to the TikTok video that initiated this conversation that I wanted to start tonight, this discussion here, is this gentleman, or a couple of them actually, this gal was talking about, doing the 2 cups method and jumping and shifting realities by doing the 2 cups method. And yes, I made a statement that it works. But the, the comments that, because she said it's science, and they're saying, oh, no, it's not science. That's just, what BS or whatever. There is a consensus among individuals. They believe it, that it's not real. It's fine. It's their belief. And so I'm going to get into love here, and this is leading us into love and peace, right? This discussion here. I'm trying to get us there. So when we talk about scientific consensus. And that is something that we're hearing a lot even today, right? With the COVID statistics, the mRNA vaccine, pro or anti, whatever it is, okay? There are different groups of people that have their various consensus, their ideas that they, put themselves around. Often what we heard or manifested is out of someone, it comes from someone else or our points of view, right? So through our filters and everything else. So the reality is based on our experiences, and no one has the exact same experience as another human on this planet. So regarding scientific consensus, there is an author. He's a medical doctor, a science enthusiast. His name is Michael Crichton. So let's hear what he has to say about it. He says that historically, the claim of consensus has been the first refuge of scoundrels. Let that sink in. Historically, the claim of consensus, and I want to talk about what consensus is and how it applies, to medicine and other scientific ideas. The claim of consensus has been the first refuge of scoundrels. It is a way to avoid debate. What did I say earlier? Avoiding debate by claiming that the matter is already settled. Nope, we're not talking about it. Talk to the hand. It's already settled, right? Whenever you hear the consensus of scientists agree on something or other, one thing or another, reach for your wallet, he says, because you are being had. Let's be clear, he continues, the work of science has nothing whatever to do with consensus. Consensus is the business of politics. Okay? So there's or in other words, there's an agenda behind consensus. It's not actual science. It's not scientific study. And I bring up metaphysical because people poo-poo the metaphysical, and this is the realm of where I work. And that's why this is in the title. It's not the consensus in the community that I live in that it is something that is appropriate to work with. Well, that's okay. There are, other individuals who are okay with opening their experience to something else. And they'll say that, well, acupuncture is fake or chiropractic care isn't real. The consensus, it's settled, it's not real. It's just, it's charlatan, it's fake. Consensus is the business of politics. Science, on the contrary, requires only one investigator who happens to be right because they have a hypothesis and they're testing it. And right could be subjective or things could change over time, right? Which means that he or she has results. So this is how they're right. So they're making a statement based off of results that are verifiable by reference to the real world experiences, things that they have experienced and understood and studied with data. In science, consensus is irrelevant. What is relevant is reproducible results. The greatest scientists in history are great precisely because they broke with the consensus. Let me read that again. The greatest scientists in history are great precisely because they broke with the consensus. So many people in the world today got all these data numbers, data sets, studies, whatever. Everyone's chattering about all these various topics. Oh, but the consensus, the media says this, the government says that. My doctor says chiropractic care is, dumb, and his group of doctors that he's with concede with him, and they all agree together that it doesn't work and that's not real. So I'm gonna read from another article here. This individual wrote, I pointed to the physicists' quest for a unified theory. So this is string theory and whatnot. which has led them to postulate the existence of infinitesimal, well, many different strings. I can't say that word. Infinite, infinite, infinite. I can't say that word. Extra dimensions and extra universes. And this person says, and I'm reading this for a reason because I'm gonna expand on it, on what he has to say. All these theories are preposterous. So this gentleman, the background on this article that I'm reading from, he was a scientist. He never studied quantum mechanics before, and COVID hit last year. Well, in 2020, he was homebound. We're all locked into places, and the study he was going to do, he couldn't do because of coronavirus. So he decided, I'm going to study quantum mechanics, and I'm going to come up with something. Okay, so this is what he's talking about. So he's talking about preposterous theories, he wrote. But that's not my problem with them. My problem with the extra dimensions, extra universes, infinite strings of whatever, my problem is that no conceivable experiment can confirm the theories, see, so the theories, as most proponents reluctantly acknowledge. So people who, say that it can happen, they'll acknowledge that it can never really, people can run as many experiments as they want on it, but it can never be proven, right? The strings are too small to be discerned by any buildable instrument, and the parallel universes are too distant. Common sense thus persuades me that these avenues of speculation will turn out to be dead ends. So it's something that people continue to study. He's saying, I think it's preposterous, it's not real, but he's not saying just shut up and go away. He's a scientist. He acknowledges that there is a possibility if somebody wants to study it, they have the right to do that and to spend their time and money and effort to try to do that. He doesn't sit there and say, oh, science is settled, it's not going to happen. Hi, Eric. Thank you for coming in. And he can, let's see here. So Susskind, who is a string and multiverse enthusiast, ended up attacking him, the writer, okay, on The Edge, which is a website for highfalutin intellectual chit-chat. So Susskind concluded, instead of dyspeptically railing against what the original author plainly does not understand, Horgan, the original author, would do better to take a few courses in algebra, calculus, quantum mechanics, and string theory. He might then appreciate, even celebrate, the wonderful and amazing capacity of the human mind to find uncommon ways to comprehend the incomprehensible. So that is why Mr. Horgan decided he was going to study quantum mechanics. What are we trying to prove here? Hi, Eric. Thank you for coming in. And those of you who are coming in late, we are discussing science. What is science? Scientific, talking about the scientific method. We're talking about how people will just automatically assume that just because it's not proven and people haven't been able to study things like the string theory or the metaphysical and things just kind of out of their grasp or out of their wheelhouse, they automatically say the science is settled. Or even in the medical community we're seeing today with so many other things. So I'm showing what science is and how it is a study and is a process, is a systematic study. And then I'm going to pull this back around and show how love fits into all of this. Okay. Love, peace, and understanding is what I'm all about here. So, okay. So medicine. I brought up medicine a number of times. We're talking about the black, people have their various views on, okay, so I'll use vaccines because it is something the topic I've been very passionate about for a couple decades, having children myself and choosing to not have them inoculated against various childhood diseases. And so there's a lot of debate on that, right? And we'll have these data sets and people go back and forth and back and forth. At the end of the day, it comes down to, choice. The system of modern Western science itself is broken. Newton's laws have been proven to have been word by word copied from Indian epics. 3 shoklas or verses just translated and presented. So was the string theory. No, not the science of love. Give me a moment here, Eric, because I'm about there. We're talking about how love can maybe help us get past this bump here. Medicine and all branches of science should follow the scientific method, right? I mean, if you're a nurse or doctor, you go to medical school, you're taught the scientific method, you're taught how to observe and, ask your questions and form your hypothesis and test and whatnot. And it seems like because of consensus, they have forgotten that. Remember, consensus is political. It's not scientific. Medicine and all branches of science should follow the scientific method, observation of natural events and explanations of why these natural events occur, and then modifications of explanations based on new observations and new data. The medical world is doing that on various things: diet, cholesterol, even with aspirin. But we have a tendency as individuals, and I'm going to say this: if you're in medicine or in science, if you're a scientist, and please stop talking down to people who are not in your realm, in your sphere, and just calling you a lay person, because we're all humans. We all have the ability to look at data, look at naturally occurring things, and ask questions. That is part of science. Do not talk down to us because we are asking questions, even though it's not our wheelhouse. And even you as the individual and whatever your wheelhouse is might be wrong, or might need to re-examine the data sets, might need to ask other questions instead of going with the consensus. Are all of the theories of chiropractic care 100% verifiable? No, they are theories. But individual bodies tend to have certain experiences. There is never 100% certainty in science or medicine, especially in medicine, because all of our biological systems as an individual are so different from one human body to the next. This bag that we live in, that our souls reside in, has different experiences, different foods, different environments that we're exposed to, different toxins we're exposed to. Nothing is the same. Let's see here. Step on the little ants. I like that one. I like that one, Eric. It's gotten really loud in here. You can't hear your phone. Talk to me later. Okay, you'll have to come back and watch later. Thank you for watching. Little ants aren't that different. You'll have to explain to me, Eric. I enjoy that. So, love. Let's at work. Okay. Hang on a second. The break given to you by McAllister's peach flavored sweet tea. Okay. Anyway. So, love. Why in the world is love in the title of this topic? Okay. I mentioned a moment ago about scientists and doctors and whatever professional world you live in, calling somebody a layperson and talking down to them, little ants. We're all human. We're all here on this planet together. Eric asks, what is sweet tea? Is it sweet before adding sugar? Oh, man. You're not from the South, are you? Yes. I live in Mississippi. Doesn't sound like it, I know. So in the end, so as it's coming back to love here then, let's get back to using the scientific method. Let's get back to accepting the fact that there might be things that we don't know and start to diminish and just close this dualism mentality. Because in dualism, one way or another, black or white, no in between, no possibilities for anything else. It's okay to question what you've always been taught to believe and to give others that space. And when we do that, that's love. When we allow ourselves to recognize and allow others the space to recognize that just because the consensus says something about a certain topic, but we're going to allow ourselves or give others the permission to question it, to doubt. Because remember, I said earlier, doubt, Voltaire talks about how the inability to doubt leads to dogmatism, which then leads to fanaticism. A whole lot of fanatics out there. And I will, even though myself being involved in the vaccine, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-educated choice. Asking questions and determining for oneself. Okay? I get labeled things, and that's not love. That's division. That's dualism. The way that we're going to overcome is giving everybody the space and the opportunity to sit in their personal power, to help one another, come alongside one another, and say it's okay to trust your intuition. Now that's scary, isn't it? Voltaire said doubt is scary. Intuition, what does science say about intuition? Ooh, can't go there, can we? Because it can't be proven. Or should we maybe study it? Eric says we always have a choice. We are forgetting the art of comparison. Hello, hello. And your dog came from Georgia. What kind of dog do you have? Eric said his dog came from Georgia. So apparently he's not in the South. So this is my plea then in all of this is, if you are choosing to expose yourself to alternative ideas on the internet or in the world and the community around you, and you don't necessarily agree with them, can you please operate from a place of love? Can you please be honest with yourself and say that, you know what? It might be something I don't know about. It doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay. To do otherwise and to just shoot somebody down because it's different than your experience or the reality you've allowed yourself to create for yourself because of your experiences is not love. So that is how I bring science. And then I brought the metaphysical in because I'm an intuitive healing facilitator. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I read cards. Yes, sometimes I am operating in the realm of what people will call a medium, usually not by choice. It just kind of happens. And my hands are on fire, waiting to touch the next person that they need to touch to offer them whatever healing that they need to draw from these hands. Is that strange? Yes. Do people question that? Absolutely. Do I question it? Absolutely. Do I try to understand and create studies out of it? No. That's not my wheelhouse. But if there's other people who want to do that and they would like me to participate in something, if they have a hypothesis that they would like to explore, I'm open to it. But I know my experiences, yes, create my reality. And my experiences indicate to me when I work with clients that there's something about this stuff that we can't quite really see and totally know and understand. And that people are healed and people are set free and people can make different choices and entire families can be changed. Do I know why? Do I know all the whys? No, I don't. Some people have to know. That's just the way they are. And that's okay. I don't fault them for that. I love to ask why. There's a lot of things I ask why about. But when it comes to doing this work, because I know what flows through me and I see the number of people that are helped, I choose not to ask the whys too much. I ask enough to answer some questions as I can, and then maybe try to direct them into places if they really want to know more. But please, let's operate in love. Let's bring back the scientific method. Did we ever really have it in the forefront of our mind? I didn't hear about consensus because I think that this is so important as I close here. This is again Michael Crichton, a medical doctor, author, and science enthusiast. Historically, the claim of consensus has been the first refuge of scoundrels. Do you want to be a scoundrel or do you want to be someone who operates in love? Consensus is a way to avoid debate by claiming that the matter is already settled. It's done. Whenever you hear the consensus of scientists agrees on insert, reach for your wallet because you're being had. Medical doctor and science enthusiast said this. Let's be clear. The work of science has nothing to do with consensus. Consensus is the business of politics. Science, on the contrary, requires only one investigator who happens to be right, which means that he or she has results that are verifiable by reference to the real world. In science, consensus is irrelevant. What is relevant is reproducible results. Yes, I know that people will, talk about how you can use patterns, you can see things, you can make assumptions based off of those patterns, and so that's why we believe when we say certain things, and this is how we say this. Some people say that's how they declare that science is settled about a topic. But you can always look at that data, and you can go in, and anybody can go into that data set and ask a question. And when that question is asked, a new hypothesis can be formed. And then there might be different reproducible results that come out of that based off of that one question. So you can never really say that the science is settled. So please, for the love of humanity, let us all be loving to one another, kind to one another, and give each other the space to disagree and say, you know what? It's okay if you think that. That's your life. So with that, I'm going to close down this broadcast. Thank you guys for participating. Thank you for asking the questions. I'm going to read through a couple of the other comments that came in here. Just a second here. Do you drink whiskey? Actually, only if it's gluten-free. Magic and science is one and the same. We will understand as the years go by. I am not going to disagree. Wow. I work with Access Consciousness Healing. I am so amazed by Access Consciousness, and Dane here, I have been so drawn and pulled to him for so many years. I haven't gone there yet. I haven't done it. I will, pod and pock, times a godzillion, good and bad, right and wrong, pod pock, right? Yeah. How it doesn't get any better than that, right? Or how does it get any better than that? Absolutely. And I use that with my clients. Lovely live. Appreciate your views. Keep up the magnificent work. Thank you for the encouragement. I appreciate it. Can't you have consensus after debate? You can have debate. You can come to a consensus and an agreement after a debate, but it doesn't mean the science is ever settled. It's not science. Science is not consensus. Um, to come into agreement and say that this is the way that things are, that is dualism. That is factionalism. That is making a declaration that this is the way it is. It's it's dogmatic, and it doesn't allow room for doubt. Try karma yoga. Indian epics written millions of years ago have those answers. Okay, not sure. Again, like I said, if you're commenting on Facebook, I'm not seeing who the user is. Thank you. I'll try to go back and find that. This distorted non-scientific thinking has really showed up in this COVID reality. It has. It has. And that wasn't what drew me to do this broadcast tonight. You know, was somebody poo-pooing somebody trying to jump realities. You know, I'm like, you're right, because the gal's like, it's, you know, scientifically proven. Well, it can't, no. Well, I don't know. I read some things on here saying that, you know, those types of things can't totally be proven, but that was one person's opinion, but another person came out and said, do the algebra, do the whatever. So see, who does it belong to? A beautiful access tool. You know, that one is one that I have, I use it and I always forget the heavy light thing. I think I get it mixed up. I do the muscle testing, basically. I don't do the heaviness in the body, whatever. I use the muscle testing. Yeah. So if you guys are not familiar with access consciousness, look up access consciousness or Google Dain, Dain here with 2 E's, not HEAR. Google Dain here. And he even has some other stuff on various social media platforms, and he does a lot of live streams. So, and even the stuff that he says and does, people are, you know, it's not uncommon to hear people, you know, because it's not part of the consensus. And that's just garbage. That's just bull crap. It's not real. Let's just love each other. You know, I'm taking L-citrulline, you know, and people might even say, well, it's never been studied and proven to do certain things to the body. Well, I know what's happening to my body when I take it and when I don't take it. I don't think it's a coincidence. You know, again, biological systems are different. Heavy is yours. Podpoc, light. Okay, okay, so if things heavy, it's yours. If it's light, it's someone else's. Right. Heavy is strong. It's a yes. So, send to senders. Podpoc. If you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about, but it's fun. I'm gonna get going, y'all. You have a good night. I have a lot of work to do. Bye-bye.